Hi everybody! Hi Dr. Choi. So I loved this assignment of creating foldables. I previously was familiar with them but had never used them or implemented them in the classroom in my student teaching experience or have really had my personal experience with them. So I was really excited to make my own. And I used Dinah Zyke, I think that's how you say it, her foldable ebook to make most of these and be the inspiration for most of these. So I'm going to start with the first one. Is for science. I did this yellow foldable book, and I decided to challenge myself with a topic I was unfamiliar with because I never took chemistry really, but I decided to push myself. So I did physical and chemical properties as well as physical and chemical change. So I did some of my research and I found out what all of those were. And I decided that the book was a good one for this because you can easily write. I put the physical, chemical at the bottom, and then I would write up top what the definition was and some examples. So for physical properties, can be observed or measured without changing it. So some examples are color, shape, size, mass, volume, density. They went through and I did that for each one. So if you flip up, you get to see what chemical properties are. If you flip up again, and you see chemical changes. And again, my drawing's not very good, but you see chemical change. So I love this design, partially because students can study and quiz themselves. So if they look at the bottom, they can quiz themselves what's chemical property and what they remember, and they can flip up and check if they're right. And it's a great way, interactive way to study, review material, quiz other students. And I love the idea of the book, and I love the idea of the tactile aspect to it, where you can flip up and make it as visual as you want. You can draw pictures. Students can make it their own, which I really enjoyed. So this is my science foldable. My next subject I'm going to do is math. So I'm starting with my two subjects that are probably my weaker subjects. And I am recording outside on this beautiful day, so that's why we might hear some sirens or dogs. I apologize. Okay, so this is my math foldable. And I chose to do mean, median, mode, and range. This is a topic that we will be talking about more in middle school and in high school. So it's something that foundational aspect that students should know. So I chose the 4-door foldable for mean, median, mode, and range. So let's start with mean. If you open it up, it has the definition, which is the average of numbers in the data set. And for each of them I wrote how to find. So I put the steps on how to find it so that students can refer to it if they don't remember how to do it or they need reminders. And then there's an example. So it visually shows students how to do it if they forget or they need reminders or review. So I really like this 4-door foldable. The other reason I really like it is it has a tactile and visual aspect to it where you can flip open, but it also allows your brain to focus on one thing at a time versus this one I really do like. It's the same thing. You get to flip up and focus on one at a time. And so that's really why I like it. So students don't need to get overwhelmed by just opening it up and having all this writing. They get to close and be able to manipulate what they see, which I think is really important. And for students with disabilities, this is good for reducing cognitive load because it allows them to just focus on range or mode or mean. So I really like this 4-door foldable. And students can put definition on one side, the steps, examples, and anything else that they need to help them. So I really liked that for math. For English, I did a brochure, and I decided to choose point of view, and I kind of made it fun. I said point of, and then I put review, just to show what students can do with making it their own. So I put polka dots, and I kind of made it my own. but I did review so students can review. So that's my title. If you open it up, brochure style, it starts with first person. I put first person is I when telling a story. So the character is going through the experiences themselves, and I drew a stick figure going into the book, experiencing it. So if you open it up, I have second person, and then I have third person limited in the middle, and I show the person is experiencing outside of the story, the narrator is outside of the story, and then I have third person omniscient, and those were two, third person limited and third person omniscient can be easily confused, especially for students because they are similar but different. So I like the brochure because you can visually see the lines that divide, and it kind of visually lets you see and compare them when you open it up like a book. And I do like the brochure, there's nothing on the back, but I do like the brochure style because it allows students to open up and see, okay, this column is this column is third person, and this column is third person omniscient. So it visually can show the difference and discrimination between all of them, which I did like. I also put the definition and other facts. So for third person limited, the story is about he or she, and it's most common in fiction, whereas third person omniscient is about he or she, but the narrator has full access to every character's thoughts, where limited is only limited to maybe one character or a couple characters' thoughts. So it visually lets you see the difference, which I think is huge for students. And I think this would have been very helpful for me throughout my schooling if I had personally taken the time to make foldables, or if teachers had implemented these types of foldables. The other reason why I like it is because it is small, and students can stick this in a folder and keep it, all of these, as study guides and easily accessible study guides throughout the year, so they can just easily flip open and review what first person is. And I think it acts as a great refresher because we put so much content in our classrooms and we have to teach so much, that these foldables serve as a great way to just quickly open and review what they are. So this is my brochure for English. And my last one is the four-door foldable in a different style. I did who, what, where, how for social studies. So just to show you, I did the Revolutionary War, American Revolution. Again, not a good drawer. But this I like because it shows you specifically, I like it for social studies because it shows you specifically what it is, who was involved, where it happened, and when. So a lot of times in social studies, we're learning a lot of facts, we're learning a lot about different wars and different time periods, so ultimately I thought this was a great idea. So Revolutionary War, you open up the who, I have 13 colonies and colonial government in Great Britain. Where, so I said it began in Philadelphia. How, I talk more about what it is and why it happened and how it all went down. And what, I said a war between Great Britain and British colonies against British rule and seeking independence. So this is great because if you open it all up, it gives you the subject in the middle, and then students can put in their own information. I also thought of if you give students a topic, to give them to fill in the who, what, where, when, why, how, so that they are engaged and interacted with the material. Or if you require students to make it based on a unit, they can choose a topic that maybe they're having a harder time with, and they research information and then they fill it out. That would be a great way to have students maybe grapple with the material that they're less comfortable with. So these are my 4 foldables, and I love these because they're great for all students, especially students with disabilities. They have that visual color and the tactile aspect, and a visual reminder of information learned. Another way that I thought maybe these can be scaffolded for students with disabilities is, let's say we take the social studies one or the science one, and if I was talking about a subject, maybe I would put a visual, print out a picture and put it in here, and then ask students to tell me the definition or to give me an example. So let's just say, for example, for chemical change, instead of maybe drawing pictures, maybe for students who are struggling more, I would print out a picture of wood burning, print out a picture of baking a cake, and then maybe I would ask them, what is it? Or to give me some other information. Another way you could do it is to give them the definition and ask, what are some examples of chemical change, or what else can you tell me? So it gives students a platform to build off of. So that's another option I thought of while making these, to make, because students with disabilities especially might be a little overwhelmed making these and having to find all the information. But if you give them something on each subject, it will let them and help them to focus on one thing at a time. Same thing for English. If you open it up, I like this because there are exactly 4 categories, and if you drew a picture to give hints to the student, maybe they would be able to write, oh, the narrator is outside of the story, and we can support students in that way than having them do all of this at once. And those are my foldables. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed, and have a great day.